Well, hello Avirup.
Hi Akash, how are you?
I'm great. So currently we are like with only two participants. Before this we were with 8, 9. Can wait for others because since this is the last session, सब लोग ऐसे कल्टी मार लिए हैं. But would be recording for them anyway and recording for Hushal because at Hushal we also have this plan to chop down the small videos and the questions are gonna be in such a way that we can always create content for the future generation of engineers and marketers and growth hackers and entrepreneurs and more Avirups.
Sure, sure.
So, how have you been, man? How was Auroville?
Auroville was great. It's a bit warmer than what we have experienced before last year. Like we traveled together to
Yeah,
Auroville. So
yeah,
it was warmer than before, but yes, overall the experience was great. And anyway, the roads are really pretty, the food is good,
yeah.
people are there. So good experience altogether.
So, Avirup, why don't you take a moment to introduce yourselves? Like, yes.
Yeah, sure. So, guys, my name is Avirup and I'm a graduate from IIT Kharagpur, batchmate of Akash. At the moment, I'm working with Misho in the user growth team and I manage user communication for them. Moreover, I also like traveling. As Akash mentioned, I recently have been to Auroville and previously I was there in Dharampur and Manali. So, traveling is something which I want to continue.
Yeah.
So I guess this session can be a bit on traveling as well.
Yeah, I mean, we will touch upon that topic, like why traveling is important for entrepreneurs. Because wait up, I will just put the link in the group because people are requesting me to put the link. I forgot to put the link for the second session in the group.
Hmm.
Just a minute. Oh shit, I actually didn't add any link today. That's weird.
So we can start after 5-10 minutes. That's completely
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, no, it's fine. I mean,
So who are Satish and Kushat Kushartha? No, Krutartha. They are first year students, first second year students.
Krutarth is, I guess, second year student. Am I right, Krutarth?
No, I am first year student.
First year student. So Krutarth is,
Second.
and Sahid is also first year student from IIT Kharagpur.
Awesome.
Krutarth is from MS College in Bangalore. Sahid Praveen is then again a first year student, really passionate about entrepreneurship again from first year at IIT Kharagpur. So yeah, so I think we will just start off
Yeah.
for the interest of time. Uh, of course, time is important, right?
Yes, yes.
So Avirup, what do you do as a growth hacker? So guys who missed it out, Avirup is basically a growth hacker at Misho, and now I'm personally very interested what a growth hacker does because the word really sounds interesting, and I that makes me wanna become a growth hacker. But like, let's ask him, what does a growth hacker do?
Yeah. So first I'll explain what growth is all about. So growth, like the word growth hacking is very fancy, but at the same time it is very important for a business as well. So growth in itself is optimizing the entire business funnel, starting from the awareness stage where you tell your users what your brand is all about, or communicating few lines, or creating the perception of your brand. Then comes your acquisition where you focus on multiple channels to acquire new users into your platform. The third stage is your activation, where you focus on making the user perform the first most important activity in the platform. For example, in e-commerce companies, the first most important activity or the wow moment is placing the first order. So the activation focuses on that particular activity. The next step in growth is your retention. Basically, once you have acquired the user, you have activated the user, now you have to engage with the user through multiple strategies, for example gamification, loyalty program, communities, or through sending different kind of communication to retain them and engage with them. Then comes your next stage, that is your referral, where you refer your friend or your family member to join in the platform, or use the particular product or service. The last is the revenue, where you actually think on monetizing the entire business. So optimizing the entire funnel, which I explained just now, is something that a growth hacker growth or a growth enthusiast or a growth team member does. But definitely, I do not look into all of them. That is humanly not possible unless I am at a very senior position. What I do at Misho is I am in the engagement charter or the retention charter, where I look after the user communications. So on a day-to-day basis, I talk to users. I try to persuade them to buy products from our platform, and that is through push notification, WhatsApp, SMS, and other forms of communication channels.
So guys, I think this gives a very broad idea as to like how bigger firms like Misho function. Like um, they don't even rely on one growth hacker. Like they have multiple growth hackers for different things like retentions, and then retention, acquisition, and then there's revenue, and like, so I think there are like 6 to 7 people in the market growth team. Am I right?
So there are six funnels, like six charters basically. Your awareness, acquisition, activation, retention, referral, and revenue. So these are the pillars or the major pillars of growth, and each pillar is having a different team, which is working in Misho day in and day out to optimize and increase their numbers.
So I remember. So for the people who don't know, Avirup was we were in the same hostel back in college, and at that time, like it was really inspirational to see him working for his own startup, which was Growth Mart. Could you just tell people like what Growth Mart is all about, and like how do you build a brand from like 0 to 1? Like you have seen the entire journey of 0 to 1.
Yeah,
So
so GrowthMart is a freelancing marketplace for designers, developers, and digital marketers, where we used to run a community of freelancers for over 1,000 freelancers, and basically we wanted to provide them a platform where they can network, learn, and earn. And also we used to help a lot of clients in order to hire or make the hiring process seamless, hiring freelancers seamless. So that is what GrowthMart was all about. And we started it in the final year of our college. And that time I was fortunate enough that I had a lot of friends, close friends, who brought in their expertise, brought in their time, and also helped me in course correct on what I was doing. And the entire 0 to 1 journey was amazing, or I would say it was a once in a lifetime experience, because I learned a lot of things the hard way. I learned a lot of things while I was building my own startup. So yeah, like overall it was an amazing experience.
So, like in the previous session, we were discussing that Avirup would be coming, and he would be discussing his 0 to 1 journey, and how bold a move it was to, just like say fuck off to placements, and just follow your passion, build a brand, and you build Growth Mart. And even at that time when the COVID was like at its peak. So, what was the most interesting part in your 0 to 1 journey, as well as what was the most hardest decision or hardest part?
Yeah, the most or the most interesting or the best part that I enjoyed was working with my team, because we work day in and day out. We used to brainstorm on multiple ideas, and we used to come with out of the box ideas. We used to think on building things that has not been built before. So the entire process of that brainstorming session and building a team to work on that, and also the bond that we have created in that journey is something very interesting. And I still have friends from that team who I know that they will be lifetime friends. And also there are a lot of learnings as well, which I have done in the wrong way, which I know that next time if I want to start up, those things I won't be repeating. So yeah, like overall the learning was very interesting, and the team that I was working with was very interesting. And the hardest decision that I had to take is, I was in my final year and I had to choose only one thing, that is set for placements or work on my own startup idea, because we can't sail on both boats together.
Yeah.
So I had a mental framework on what to do. Like I worked with a couple of founders before. Like I worked with FamPay, I worked with a startup in Dubai, and I also represented our college in Hull twice in Vietnam, where I met a lot of founders. So that gave me a lot of encouragement and confidence that even I have the potential to actually convert an idea into reality. So then, what I decided is I'll not sit for placements, because uh, need not to say that we come from a premier college, and with the kind of experience we are coming with, getting a job won't be a problem.
Yeah.
And that is something everyone of us needs to realize, that at a very early age, if we start, like if we start very early, then it is more, we have more probability of wins, because we have lower risk, we have lower liabilities, and we have that energy and time to learn new things on the go. So the earlier you start, the better it is, if you know that you want to get into entrepreneurship in the long term.
Tot-
So
Totally agree. Totally agree with you. Like 100% agreed with you. And I think this sort of entrepreneurship energy and this, like if you see your friends building something, that also rubs off.
yeah.
Like I attribute some of my decision making to you only, and to other friends like Rohan Kameshra, and Rohan in fact came to our podcast on Monday. So yeah, I mean, it's really encouraging. Basically, you draw encouragement from other people, and then hopefully someone draws the same kind of encouragement from you as well. So I mean, yeah, it's totally about encouragement, confidence, and one has to realize their privileges. Like if you are studied in a good college, if you are from a good family background where parents can support you for some time, I mean, it's no brainer that you need to start building something out if you aspire to build something and aspire to become an entrepreneur as early as possible. Because getting a job is quite easy if you're a graduate.
I wouldn't say it's easy. Like
It's
everyone
yeah,
does the hard work to get a job,
yeah,
and like it's just different satisfaction when you get a job in a very good company. But in the long run, we need to remember that we have come to IITs, or we have come to premier colleges, not to get a job but to create jobs. At
yeah,
least every one of us, or a couple of us who have the high risk taking ability, should actually make an attempt to to create jobs. If they fail, fair enough. Failing is not bad. You should have the freedom of failure in the early years of your life, so that you can at least say that you have tried something out,
yeah.
and it's completely fine to fail.
So basically, what I believe is right now where the market is shifting to is like if you have the skills, you will get the job. No matter what your college is, like whether you come from a tier 3 college, tier 2 college, even if you haven't been to college, if you have the right skill set, I think, and if you are able to show them nicely,
Mhm.
you will definitely get something, like get a good job at least. And this is what the entire session is all about: web dev x entrepreneurship. And web dev doesn't mean just, doing the like the traditional web development, creating a website, creating a platform. It's also about, how do you interact on the internet with various tools and products. So for you, I believe that even as a growth hacker, you must be using many of these no code tools for tracking purposes, analytics, and everything. So could you just like name like three tools that you use the most that come to the top of your mind?
Yeah. So the first tool that we use day in and day out is Mixpanel, which is a real-time tracking tool. It's an analytics tool which helps us in driving decisions through real-time data. The second tool that we use is CleverTap. CleverTap is a CRM tool, which through which we send all our communications, be it WhatsApp or a push notification, SMS, email. So we can send omni-channel communications through CleverTap. And the third tool that we use is Metabase, which is our again internal tool, which is help us for analytical purposes itself. So these are the major tools we use. Apart from that, there are other tools as well, which I do not use on a day-to-day basis, but people from acquisition and awareness team do use, which are related to Google Analytics and other uh, acquisition related tools.
So ideally, when you were working for Growth Mart, when you were building out Growth Mart, how much time do you recommend for founders to, founders or aspiring entrepreneurs to actually venture out into, marketing or using these kinds of tools? Like, of course, the first thing is like identifying the problem, then building out a solution, doing some market research. When does marketing comes into picture? Like, and how much time one should devote to it essentially after they have built out the product?
Yeah, so I would say the tools that I have mentioned at the moment, anyone who is starting afresh or starting today on working on their idea, none of these tools should be used.
Yeah.
The first thing and the first and the foremost thing a entrepreneur or a first time founder should focus on is talking to users and building a product, as YC says, Y Combinator says. So because you as a founder will have n number of problems to solve, but you need to prioritize which is the most important one. I would say there are two: talking to users and building a product. And once you have built your product, you have a prototype ready, then you get that particular product tested by your internal pool of users, so that you can iterate it over time. And then you take your product at scale, where new users are also using it, and then you have the data points, like then you have a lot of data, like, and when you have a lot of data, that time you can use tools like CleverTab, Mixpanel, because these are growth tools, these are not 0 to 1 tools.
Got
So
it.
0 to 1, I would say, like what I used to use when I was running Growth Mart, the number one tool was definitely Google Sheets,
And
Google Docs, and for task management, I used to use Trello. Trello is an amazing tool to optimize your time and also collaborate with your teams. For documentation, you can use Notion. Notion is an amazing tool. It's like Google Docs with like n number of features.
API functionality. I mean, you can literally, make
Correct.
API calls through Notion.
Correct. So yeah, like these are amazing tools which are available online, which are available free. And if your company or if your startup is a bit sales driven startup, then you can use the free version of HubSpot, which will help you manage the entire sales funnel, and it will also help you integrate few channels like your website, your emails and stuff. Then you can send omni-channel communications through HubSpot. So yeah, like these are the tools that I used to use, and I will definitely recommend them to use, because I've come down to these set of tools like Notion, Trello, then your Google Docs or Google Sheets after trying out a lot of tools.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, yeah, these are like tried and tested tools and approved by Avirup. And like when of a person who has done a 0 to 1 journey, and when they say that these tools have been helpful for them, but you like they are helpful for you. Just don't doubt them. Don't second guess them. So, what was studying agricultural engineering like? I mean,
Yeah, so I studied agriculture and food engineering. I did a dual degree program. I was there in dual degree. I did my BTech and MTech. So overall, the entire course was very peaceful. Like I didn't have to bother much about the academics, because it was not rocket science. First of all, second thing, I was happy that like formally I was learning something which is way different from the traditional engineering stuff or the traditional engineering students do. At the
right.
same time, agriculture and food engineering department at IIT Kharagpur also offers you that opportunity to explore other departments, which allowed me to take courses from VG Zone, that is Vinod Gupta School of Management or Entrepreneurship School, which helped me in educating myself with some business knowledge and also entrepreneurship knowledge. So I know your question was more related to agriculture, but
Yeah, yeah, I get it. Now we are past agriculture. But so what now and what's next? I mean, what's next for Avirup Mondal now? I mean, another 0 to 1 journey or like
yeah, so at the moment I am like, rather today is the day where I completed 1 year at Misho.
0 to 1 journey at Misho.
Yeah. So one of the other reason why I joined Misho was I have seen and have built a 0 to 1 company, that is Growth Mart, but I have not seen the growth phase of a company. Like I didn't have the structured data points that I have here in Misho. I couldn't have created impact at scale in a 0 to 1 company, which I am able to create in Misho's growth team. Right. So now I can say that I have an experience of working for a 0 to 1 company and also 1 to 1 company.
Yeah.
So the next thing that I would want to do is definitely अंदर से एक कीड़ा रहता है कि तुम खुद खुद का कुछ करो, that is still there.
Yeah.
Still working on an idea with few folks, but that is something which is going on and on.
Yeah.
Nothing serious or nothing permanent about it. But I know for a fact, like since I have done a couple of internships since 5 years, I've I've built my own startup. I'm working with Misho, so I am very much clear now that I want to build my career in growth. Even if I build my own startup, my forte would be growth.
Got it.
So for that reason, I have joined in GrowthX. GrowthX is a cohort-based learning course where you learn different frameworks on growth. So that will be starting in the last week of June, and it's an 8 week cohort-based program. And looking forward to that to upskill my game again.
Great, man. Great, great, great. Of course, upskilling should never stop. Whether you are on any stage. I mean, you get sort of obsolete if you don't upskill yourself these days. I mean,
Yeah. I'm also looking forward. Hustle starts their own upskilling courses.
Harshal, I mean, let's not discuss, but hopefully we never start upskilling courses, because what we believe is that there are plenty of players in the market that focus on upskilling. But
Okay.
before upskilling, there comes in one stage where, you have to figure out like what you want to really pursue. What is the real grind? Like there's no way that you can, test out different kind of fields, because even for us, the path has been very long. I mean, we study engineering, then we dabble into a few other things, and then we realize, okay, like this is my grind, and 6 7 years into that grind, and you then realize it, and the learnings are really powerful, no denying that. But at the same time, like, if we would have taken a step back and would have had a bird's eye view on everything, and then would have tried and tested everything, and then would have chosen a path, I'm pretty sure the results could have been a bit better. And that's what we are focusing on right now. Maybe courses in the future, maybe we grow by growth by us. Okay, I think I'll edit that part out. But yeah.
But I got your point. Rather, even I realized one thing, like similar to like on the lines of what you said,
Yeah.
is the like I used to do a couple of interns in multiple industries. I did in FMCG, I did an internship in IT, I did an internship in a startup, and also in a PSU as well. So everywhere I used to go, I used to learn something or the other, or I used to dislike few things, I used to like few things. But now when I look back, I realize that the dots are connecting some way or the other.
Yeah.
For example, I'm building a good network with people, or I am learning few skill sets which are applicable across industries. And the third thing is I am able to eliminate the things that I don't like.
Exactly.
That was possible because I, I was very much focused on exploring new things. And rather, college is the time where you explore new things before your life becomes very stagnant.
And we want to like 5x that exploration speed, like, you know, just
Forget
try
5x.
error, try error, try error, work with Avirup in like building something, work with Akash in building something, work with any n number of creators in building something, and then finally realize your grind, whether what you are cut out for really. So guys, we are opening the floor for a quick AMA before Avirup leaves us. So yeah. So we have a question from Praveen. While
Yeah.
starting up, doing different from what crowd do, we would definitely feel alone. How can we tackle that situation of being feeling alone?
Okay, so I'll just read out the question again. Like you're saying that when we start up, we feel alone, right?
Yeah.
And how to tackle that. Okay, so first of all, entrepreneurship is not a single person's game. It's a team sport. And entrepreneurship is a sport and it's a team sport. You cannot build a company alone, right? So how you get away with that thing is, first of all, identify what are your strengths, and especially identify what are your weaknesses. You should be brutally honest with yourself in identifying आप किसमें अच्छे नहीं हो, because then only it will help you in building a team which will be your right counterpart, right? So being social and also being able to sell your idea to someone, to your team members at an early stage is very important. And before that, knowing what you are not good at is important. And then only you can remove your loneliness in entrepreneurship, because they are not correlated. Loneliness and entrepreneurship are not correlated.
Yeah.
So hope I answer the question, not in a structured way, but I pointed out.
Customers are your
Yeah,
new
I got. Yeah, I
cus-
got it. Thank you.
customers are your new friends, Praveen.
Uh-huh.
You are not lonely. So Sahit, what skills do you have before starting your first startup?
Sorry, I didn't get you.
What skills
Huh.
should you have before starting your first startup?
Okay. First, you should know how to sell. And what I mean by how to sell means, you because you as an entrepreneur is kind of a full-time salesperson. You are selling your idea to your team members. You are selling your vision to the investors. You are selling your product and services to your customers. So if and you have to sell and sell. In short, you have to be a storyteller. So that is one skill that you need to possess that no one will tell you, but that's the reality.
Yeah.
The second thing is that you need to be very persistent and resilient, because if you don't believe in yourself and if you are not persistent with your action, then no one else will. So that is something you need to learn. Third thing is the art of team building, because I mentioned it earlier as well. It is a team sport, and without a team, you cannot build a startup. So these are the three things: learning the art of selling, being persistent and resilient, and the third one, learning how to build a team. So these are the three skills which are soft skills. They are nothing that will be taught in any IITs or any colleges. That is something that you need to be having as a person, or you need to build it by learning from others.
There's this book called Anyone Can Sell.
Mhm.
I mean, do give it a read, guys. I mean, will help you. Basically, the author tells you the way even an introvert, like why introverts are better sellers than extrovert, and why extroverts can be better sellers than introvert as well. I mean, both have their own like benefits and advantages. So do give it a read. It's a wonderful read. Anyone Can Sell. I think it got published back in 2000s, but it's still very relevant now. We have another question, which is like, did you raise investment for your first startup?
We tried raising investments, but we failed miserably. Then what we did is we cut down our cost. We went way frugal than what we used to spend before. And later we realized, or we were fortunate enough to break even in 4 5 months from starting off. So after that, we didn't think of raising money until for the next few months. So overall, throughout the journey of 1 year, we didn't raise money. We wanted to, but we were not able.
Avirup is being humble. He actually got an offer. He just declined it. So
Yeah,
And
I did get offers, but I did get two offers, but I had to dilute a lot of equity for that, which I was not very much ready. So
exactly, I mean, equity is all you got. I mean,
yes, so that is one judgment call which I learned in the process itself. Because I still remember, just telling you a story, that when I got my first offer, I talked to my co-founder Vaibhav, and I was pretty much excited. यार पैसा आ रहा है ले लेते हैं.
hmm,
Then we had a good discussion. Me and Vaibhav had a good discussion, and we realized that like market में बहुत ज़्यादा पैसा है, and it like and the hard work is all ours. So if the particular investor is bringing something more apart from money, then it makes sense. If
yeah.
he or she is bringing expertise or the network or helping us in business, that makes sense. Otherwise, it's a complete no.
So Syed has a follow-up question. Why did you exit from your first startup?
There were two reasons majorly. The first reason was we got a offer, like it was acquired by a IT company in Pune. So we were very much fine with the offer. And the second thing is we were just out of college and we have already tried out on an idea. And since we are so much into it, we thought that we want to explore more ideas, we want to get more industry experience. So we decided to have an exit, learn for the next few years, and then think on how can we use our experience to build our next company or maybe contribute to the company where we are working at that particular time.
Okay, Krutharth has messaged me directly. How can we upscale the UI and UX design? I
Hmm.
didn't quite catch the question. How can we upscale the UI and UX design?
Intern with Hustle.
No, but can you rephrase it, Krutharth? That would be helpful. By the way, Krutharth, we were having this discussion on the last in the last session. So Krutharth has this is in this dilemma. So he's building out this app which has like 1 minute introduction to all the things that all the subjects dealing with engineering, and 1 minute explainers about each and every one of them, all the subjects as much as possible. So
Hmm.
now he's building out this app, and he has like coded it everything like on Swift as well for Apple users and on Java for like Android users. The only dilemma he's facing is like, should he post it on iOS, like Apple Store and as well as Google Store, for which he would have to pay like $10,000 for a year. And as like, I mean, test it out with your friends and community first. If they like it, then post it out. But he's quite skeptical, like as in like, is it valuable to actually spend money when you are in college for your first startup?
Got it. So I would like if I would have been in place of Prothat, I wouldn't have been spending money with my past experience. I'll tell you why. Because first of all, you are still below your PMF, that is your product market fit. So at this particular stage, you should leverage all the options which are available for free. For example, you just thinking out loud, you can make a Facebook community, right? You can make a Facebook community, you can make a WhatsApp group, you can make a Discord community, you can make a Slack community, and a lot of other communities where you are making a group of, or where you, so basically when you're making a community, the objective is to interact with similar interest minded friends, like people who are sharing the same interest, and then share the videos or share the concepts with them. If they are interacting with it or they are gaining any value out of it, take feedback from them and iterate your product again and again until you see that someone is already ready to pay money for what you're building. And then you go to iOS or Android, because the thing that you want to do it through an app, that can be done from a open source community as well. It can be done on Facebook, it can be done on any other app. So basically when you are creating your own app and asking people to download, log in, search, and then watch the video, you are adding multiple steps in the acquisition process. So that will create nothing but friction. And let's say अगर 100 लोग व्यू कर 100 लोगों का व्यू करने का पोटेंशियल है, that would be dropping to 20 or 30 because of the friction point that you're creating because of which is your own app. So creating a base before is much useful. And once you, let's say you have a community of 10,000 people who are interacting with your particular product, right? So that time you can nudge those users personally or in the community that, hey, आज मैंने अपना app launch कर दिया, ये app download करो, and then that will give you more conversion and more confidence.
So we will be taking in the last question and then we'll be wrapping up. Like while developing while developing a web application, how can we improve user interface and user experience? I think that's a qualitative question. I mean, one thing is that if you have good aesthetics, then you can build out one on Figma yourself. So what do you prefer, starting in college or to have some experience in corporate world and then start? I think you have got both the examples here. Avirup started out in college and I did a short stint in the corporate world. So, I mean, it's just when you are ready for it. I mean, it's all about that.
Yeah. See, man, it's your life, right? And if you are a high risk taking person, then I would say whenever you have an idea and a team, start then and there itself. And college is an ideal time, I would say, because उस time पे liability नहीं होती है.
Agreed.
Right? Like now that Akash had an option, he had an offer from Japan, and he had to either go to Japan or he had to start his own startup. And the decision that he took was in the span of 2 to 3 days. So that was a very, very tough decision. And since he's having a high risk taking appetite, he was able to take that decision. So even both the cases, it's the passion that is driving us. Right? So if you're passionate about your idea and you have a team, go for it.
I mean, if you are passionate, you will eventually take hard decisions. Like even Avirup took one. Like अब हम एक दूसरे को मक्खन लगा रहे हैं, but at the same time he also took a like big decision of like just saying bye bye to placements. So with this, we will be wrapping